Hey guys, it's me and Driving John. We're actually on our way to Ocean City for 2 days, and the first thing we're doing when we get there is actually doing a meet and greet with a client in Ocean City for their upcoming wedding in September. We will be doing our wedding pet attendant down there and getting some amazing pictures by the beach. So we're very excited about that. So we have some work stuff going on. And on our way down, I wanted to do a quick video on a couple questions to ask a potential trainer. So if you're in the market for a dog trainer, if you're in South Jersey, you can call us, of course. But if you are not in South Jersey and you want to potentially hire a trainer to come out and help you work with your dogs, I want to go over a couple of questions to ask your trainer and things you should look for when vetting them. You're basically interviewing them for a very, very important job, which is to care and train and give you advice on your dog. So here are a couple questions. And most of this, the actual questions are coming from a document from the Pet Professional Guild, which is an amazing organization for force-free professionals in all animal disciplines, whether it's trainers, veterinarians, all sorts of things on there. And it's a great organization. Check them out. It's the Pet Professional Guild. And we are full members of the PPG. We're also Project Trade Ambassadors. And I'm also working on a couple other things with them right now. So this comes from them, most of the questions, and I will put my 2 cents in where needed. But here are a couple questions to ask a potential trainer. First question: what dog training equipment do you use when training a dog, or do you recommend I use? So when you ask your trainer, potential trainer, potential trainer, this question, you should be looking for anything positive as a response. So they should say, if someone asked me this question, I would say, well, we use, several different pieces of equipment, but normally we recommend a back or front clip harness, or both. Some harnesses have both. And, 5 or 6 foot long regular leash, and that's a good piece of equipment. If you're worried about your dog getting out of the harness or backing out of something, then we recommend a all cloth martingale collar that's attached to that, and the front clip harness for extra security measures. And that's pretty much it. So that's what I would say as far as equipment on walking, or any equipment that would be on your dog during training. A flat buckle collar is great for holding tags, but it's really not something that I'm recommending to walk a dog on or training with your dog on that necessarily. So, as it can cause some damage. What you certainly don't want to hear is that they're using a prong collar, a choke chain, a bark collar, electric shock collar, an e-collar. There's other words for these things. A remote collar, a stimulation collar. I've heard that before. Wonder what kind of stimulation that is, because it's certainly not a pleasant one. So that's how you want to ask it, and that's what you want to hear back, is something of that nature. A true professional, true force-free, positive reinforcement, an educated trainer would only use harnesses and maybe a martingale for specific things, but they're not going to recommend anything that's going to inflict any pain or discomfort on your dog. Those things can cause bad associations with the trainer, with you as a pet parent, with outside things, outside stimuli that you don't think they're actually making an association with, but it can elicit a pretty bad response later and have some pretty negative, nasty side effects that you certainly don't want to deal with. So that's one. Number 2, what happens in your training program when the dog responds in the way you want him to? So that's a good question. And this kind of basically the answer you should get back is that he will be positively reinforced with food, playtime, petting, access to something he wants. Praise is always there, so good things should come when the dog guesses correctly. Next question. What happens in your training program when the dog responds in the way you do not want him to? So this is a very important question. So you say, hey, what happens when my dog guesses wrong? What happens if my dog does the wrong behavior, does the wrong thing, or does something undesirable? You certainly don't want to hear, again, anything that's going to cause pain or discomfort on your dog. You want a true force-free professional is going to say, okay, you know what, I may stop petting them, I may withhold my attention, I may remove the toy for a moment, wait for him to calm down, then give it back. Redirection, I'll redirect him to a toy, I'll redirect him to, his Kong or his crate or whatever, redirect him to you. So really, if a dog guesses incorrectly, sometimes nothing happens. I'm trying to teach a dog a new behavior and he's not mauling anybody, then I might just wait for him to guess again, guess something else, and that might be the right guess. So we shouldn't really be focusing on punishing. You shouldn't be focusing on what the dog's doing wrong. You should really be focusing on what the dog's doing correctly. So that's a good thing to know. Next question. How will you know, or how will I know if my dog's stressed during the training? This is a good one. They're all good ones, so I'm going to say that every time. But pain trainers, aversive trainers, balance trainers, dominance trainers, alpha trainers, blah, blah, blah. Again, uneducated trainers, unfortunately, that have not gone to a seminar or read a scientifically backed dog training book in the last 4, 5, 6 decades. That's not hyperbole, that's the truth. So they will, they may not know if your dog's stressed. That's the problem. You have to really, really study and have a lot of hands-on training and hands-on work with all sorts of dogs and truly study dog behavior and stress signals and calming signals. So what I would say is, I'm certainly going to know that. Here's some things. I may send them a handout on different stress signals and things like that. But I'll say, hey, if your dog's whining a lot or tongue flicking or they have whale eye or they're heavily panting or whatever, more obvious ones that people can distinguish when they're looking at their dog, I'll help teach them a little bit about that, but during training. But I'll say, hey, these things may pop up, and if they do, we're going to take a step back. We're going to give your dog a break. This is a student-teacher relationship. I do not want to stress the learner. I do not want to stress the student out. Teachers certainly don't strive to stress their students out when teaching them math or English or history. So when you have a dog who's on the cognitive level of a 2 to 2.5-year-old child, you certainly don't want to strive to stress them out. You want to keep everything as force-free and as stress-free as possible. All right. How am I doing, John?
Good. I just want to say I had a lot of teachers that really stressed me out, especially in math. I don't think they understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that? Did it help you or hurt you?
It hurt my heart a lot. And my brain.
Yes. So, all right, next question. How will you punish the dog or advise me to punish the dog if he gets something wrong or exhibits a behavior I do not like? So, if your dog, I would say I'm not going to be punishing your dog in the sense that most human beings consider punishment. There are kind consequences. There are things that are going to happen, which is, again, like I mentioned before, removal of attention, removal of food or a toy, ignoring the dog for a short period of time if they're too excited. There's consequences, but they're kind consequences. There's not going to be forceful punishment involved. So I would basically advise the person in the same way. If your dog's jumping all over you and it's scratching you and it's hurting you, then walk right by them and give them your back and try to redirect them and wait for them to calm down before you re-engage them. It's just a simple example, but yeah, really that's it. It's called negative punishment. It sounds bad, but it's basically the removal of something the dog likes as a form of punishment. Okay, couple more and then we're done. How do you ensure that my dog is not inadvertently being punished? question. Most people would not ask this, but it is a very good question. So you're always striving as a trainer and as a force-free positive reinforcement trainer, you're always striving to keep the dog motivated, to keep them happy, and you're always striving to keep it as, you know, least amount of stress and fear and pain as possible. And really like keeping the stress low, because some dogs can get stressed over something that isn't forceful at all, but they may view it as stressful, like getting their harness on. You know, some people think that the dog should be ecstatic that they're going out on a walk, but that dog may just really hate the process of getting the harness on, or how they feel in it. They feel a little constricted. So when that happens, you need to be, again, I would tell them I'm well versed in dog body language, I'm well versed in reading the dog, and we want to keep everything as low stress as possible. All right, next question. Which professional dog training associations are you a member of? Amazing question. No one really asks this. You people should be asking dog trainers, what are you involved in? What professional associations do you have? What school did you go to? What's that school's website? I want to look it up. I want to look up their guiding principles. I want to look up if they have a code of ethics. Because anybody could pay a small amount of money and get a piece of paper that says that they have a certificate. Doesn't mean that they're licensed or certified in the state, and doesn't mean that the state approves that school in that fashion. So really make sure that you're vetting people, asking them where they went to school, asking them, you know, what their methods are, what their code of ethics is, and what type of morals they have when they're training, just like you would a doctor, a therapist, a lawyer. You know, what's the code of ethics here? So very important question. We are members of several organizations, and if you want to know our credentials, please go to our website, fromdusktildog.com/credentials. People should have their stuff out there. If you go on someone's website and they don't have a seal, not a homemade seal, an actual seal from a school, or they don't have seals from professional organizations that vet their members, because there are dog training associations that you literally pay $50 and you're a member and it looks nice, but I mean, if Joe Schmo can get in there and I can get in there, and Joe has 0 credentials and I have, you know, several, then that's a problem, because that can look great to a client, but they may not know that. So, all right, last 2 questions. Will you guarantee your training results? I do get asked this question sometimes, and I got asked it today, and it's an interesting question. I don't blame anybody for asking it, because other trainers will have on their website or tell you on the phone during a consult, hey, we guarantee our results, lifetime guarantee, and stuff like that, or we guarantee in 3 sessions you'll have this, that, or the other thing. I mean, that's just absolutely friggin' ridiculous. And these are living, breathing things, animals. They're living, breathing, sentient beings. So the fact that we're not selling cars here, people. There's not a 30-day money-back guarantee. This isn't a, you know, retail shop. So there's way too many factors involved. Now, I will guarantee to people, what I can guarantee you is that we, you know, we are well versed in dog training and behavior, and we know what we're doing. And if you follow the program, if you follow the steps, if you, you know, are, if we have 100% pet parent compliance, then you're going to be fine. You're definitely going to see results. You're definitely going to see improvement relatively quickly. And, you know, there are steps you can take to start seeing some progress. And so that I can guarantee, but I will never guarantee those other things I mentioned, because that's dangerous. And that's telling me that you're using some device on the dog that will guarantee they're going to do it. And they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're not doing it because they want to. They're not doing it even because they understand fully. It's because they're getting shocked in the neck, or jerked around, or we're stretching their neck out on a choke chain. And yeah, if you put that on your child's probably going to just sit in place and seem really well behaved, but that is not a child who's learning much. And that's a child and a dog that is stressed out, and therefore may have a behavioral problem shortly thereafter that you would probably want to avoid if you knew ahead of time. So no guarantees. I told the person who asked me this today, very frank with everyone who calls us, and I said, listen, you know, it's not something that most professional dog trainers would ever say, and if someone says they guarantee their training results, then you should run run to the opposite direction. So yeah, so no guarantees on this stuff. There's way too many levels that we can't control. Way too many things, rather, that we can't control. What are the pet parents doing when we're not there? What are your kids doing with the dog when we're not there? How much are you practicing? How severe is your dog doing these things? I mean, it's like a personal trainer. We can show you how to eat and how to work out, but that trainer can't guarantee you're going to get a six-pack, because you could be eating chocolate cake at 3 a.m. and the trainer's not there to, you know, yank it away from you. So way too many factors. And again, you would never really expect a guarantee from any other professional that's dealing with behavior. So you would never go to your therapist with your child who has anxiety, or go to a math tutor because you want to teach your child something new, and say, hey, do you guarantee that my you know, son's going to be an astrophysicist after he's done with you? Or, you know, do you guarantee that my anxiety, or my child's anxiety, is going to be gone in 2 months? Or how many sessions until that's gone? I mean, it's just too complex. You will get results, you will see results if you follow the program, but guarantees are a red flag to me. And last question. How do you think a dog's behavior should be addressed if the dog is growling or snapping at people or other dogs? It should be addressed with positive reinforcement training, and by hiring a professional, a certified positive reinforcement trainer. It should be addressed by slowly desensitizing them and counter-conditioning them to be things that make them uncomfortable, just like therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists do with people who have anxieties or anger management issues or whatever's going on in human life. But yeah, it should be treated with a behavioral modification program in a positive reinforcement manner. So that's really it. How'd I do, John? We're all done.
Yeah, pretty good. I
Yeah.
guarantee you did a good job.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. I wanted to go over those 10 questions to ask a potential trainer that you're interviewing for that very important job, to come into your home, be with your family, be around your dog, and give you advice that's going to impact your family, including your dog, for many years to come. So hiring a dog trainer is no joke. It's a very serious thing to look into, and you should vet it, and you should not just shop on price, because cheap doesn't mean good. If you want a good car, you have to pay a little bit more for it, but it's going to last longer and be a smoother drive and not break down in, you know, a day or two. So don't just shop on price, shop on credentials, shop on professionalism, shop on levels of service. You know, they should have a good presence online and when they speak to you on the phone and via email, and you should feel, aside from credentials and all of that lovely stuff, which is very important, you should also feel comfortable with them. You should feel, you know, warm with them and friendly, and
yeah, we're very warm and friendly.
Yeah.
And funny.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, we're really nice to be around, I think.
We got our hype man, John, in here. So,
right.
Yeah, but I mean, we do become really close friends with all of our clients, with almost every single one of them. So we've become best friends with a couple of them too. So, you know, we want to make everyone feel comfortable. The dog trainer you consider hiring should as well. But consider those 10 questions, and if anyone wants a copy of those 10 questions, look on the Pet Professional Guild website, or please DM me or email us, and I am happy to send you a copy. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good rest of the day. Bye!
Bye, guys.
Bye!